Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to welcome you to Replo's live CRO Teardown event featuring Sean Brandt, the co-founder and CEO of Oddit. Throughout today's event, Sean will be taking a deep dive into various websites, identifying potential areas for improvement, and providing expert analysis on how to optimize your sites to increase conversion rates. You'll also be sharing actionable tips and strategies that you can use to enhance your website performance. And we're going to be accepting submissions as they come in. So everyone, if you can please drop your website into the chat, that would be great. And before I turn it over to the audit team, I'd like to quickly introduce Replo. Replo is a visual web development platform that allows teams to create beautiful, high-performance landing pages on Shopify without the need for developers. Replo is light years ahead of other page builders when it comes to customization and page speed. We have a library of hundreds of proven landing page templates that anyone can use, as well as certified experts who can help you build custom pages in just a few days. And so without further ado, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Sean and the entire audit team, and thank you all for joining us today. And we hope you find this event insightful, informative, and valuable as you continue to develop and enhance your online presence. So thank you, Sean. The floor is yours.
Awesome. Appreciate the introduction. Welcome, everyone. I'll give just in case you guys don't fully are familiar with Oddit, which I'm sure a lot of you aren't. These live events are essentially what we do in our product. We dive into domains, kind of tear them apart, red mark them, and try and give our customers as much actionable feedback as possible to increase conversion and just create more actionable, frictionless customer journeys. So just like our reports, we try and do these live events pretty blunt and honestly, and make it as valuable as possible. Obviously not in a rude tone in any way, but if there's context that we're missing or something, please take it all with a grain of salt, because in most cases it's the first time we're seeing the websites. Tommy, should I just start at the top of this chat, or do you want to pick one to be the first?
Yeah, let's try. There's one here that I liked. Let's see. Let's try that second one. I'll toss it in the chat so you got it, Sean. We'll kind of get through as many as we can, everyone. So yeah, let's start there. Yeah, let's start there, Sean.
Okay. So, screen share. And please, is anyone here from Nubia's Crown?
Yeah, I am. Thank you for choosing me.
Yeah, of course. Can you give us a little background, or just maybe just a 30 seconds on kind of where you're at with the site and anything you're struggling with?
Yeah, 100%. So it's UK-based, sells hair extensions. Does have like a 25% of our orders come from the US as well. I think my conversion rate has just started to dip. I think the website's gotten a bit stale. I haven't changed it for a while, so I just would appreciate any advice really on how to optimize it nowadays.
Cool. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to go on mobile here. Everyone can see that, yeah?
Yep.
Cool. Okay, sorry. I'm just going to take 2 seconds and just scroll a little bit here. Okay, so the first thing I'll say here, and I'm not sure if you're driving traffic to the homepage or where, but when I land on the site, I think the one thing that we're always preaching to our customers is to be as possible. And the video shows obviously their hair, but the first thing a customer is going to do here is they're going to go top to bottom, left to right. And when they see that headline, it's not necessarily super clear what exactly the product is. So one piece of advice I would have is just make sure you're actually calling out the product in there. Even though it seems silly and you're showing it and you're alluding to it, just say exactly what you're selling. That could be in the secondary copy, that could be in the headline. The other thing to be careful of here is your type style, like the headline type style, it's very thin and delicate, which it's great. It goes with your brand and it's really nice. But when you start to use it in overlays over busy backgrounds, it can be harder to read. So the headline here is actually not that hard to read, but what could be super hard when it's on a dimmer device or just in general, that button is kind of hard to read. So in this case, you probably want that button to be larger, so larger, wider, and taller. And then you probably want to actually just like open up that font a bit and fill it. So like this would be a filled white button in my mind. It should be filled, and then probably honestly we'll get a lot more clicks just by filling it because it'll be easy to see. And then we always talk about, you know, using the button as a communication tool. So, you know, what I was saying at the start with this headline and this subheadline, maybe you don't change them. Maybe you just add the product here, right? You're calling out shop product title or shop all product title. Like, give them more information in that button, and making the button bigger in general is going to give more canvas for that. So you have a better opportunity to provide that.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm just going to go. This page, what we see on a lot of collections pages is whatever is higher up is what clicks. So most, if you just look at a heat map on your site, most sites are the same. Everyone sees the first fold, 80% see the second fold, 60, 50, and then as you get further down the page, it just kind of goes down and down. So the reason I bring that up is whenever you're adding content to any section of the site, collections, product page, homepage, it has to drive value, right? And as great as this first image is, it's communicating nothing unique to the images below it. So what I mean by that is, if it was an image or a title or something highlighting the key traits of the product, like it's whatever, organic, and like all these, like something that's communicating added value that's maybe not shown in these product cards below,
Yeah.
it could be valuable. But all you're doing is showing the product again and taking up a bunch of space, and it's space that they can't even click. It's not actionable. It actually doesn't have a function. Long-winded way of saying, hit the delete button on this entire section and just get, is it gonna let me delete this? That's what this should look like, but with the title. So it just should say all products and then take them into it. You don't have a ton of products, so I wouldn't worry about having filtering and sorting and stuff. That's not anything I would do, but I think having just all products and then take them into it it's going to get you more click-throughs from the collections to a product page.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, I think that was like 5 minutes, so hopefully that was helpful for you.
It was. Thank you.
On to the next one.
Thank you.
Let's do East Olivia. Sean, I'll toss it in the chat, and if anyone from East Olivia wants to give a little background, that'd be great.
Hello, it's James here. East Olivia with my wife. We sell dried and preserved flower arrangements. Prior to the pandemic, we were an agency only doing like large scale floral installations. Obviously, events stopped when the pandemic happened. We launched the D2C side of the business, and I'm pretty focused on growing this side of the business now.
Cool. The product looks super cool. Sorry, I'm just reading quickly. Okay, so the main thing I want to call out on this site, and there's a few different things, but I think the main thing that we can feature here is hiding stuff off screen. The main thing that happens is the users aren't seeing it. So that could be in this top carousel, that could be here, that could be here. There's certain sections where it's just necessary, right? It's maybe a primary piece of information, so it's okay if it's off the page a little bit, right? But in this example, these two sections appear most importantly. One, carousels just tend not to convert. Users only ever click on the first one, and especially when they're automatic, even though you have a pause button here, no one's using that. Even though it's automatic and moving you through, it's distracting. And usually what happens is they skip by it because they're just like, either you're assuming they can read at a certain speed, right? Or they can even read. But in general, what we try and focus on is, let's just say in this scenario, you have 3 features in this header, in this carousel. The best way to remove a carousel and still present that information is pick the one that's most important. So in my opinion, it's probably describing what you sell, right? So it's Forever Florals. Describe what you sell, describe what makes it unique, show a great image of the product, give them a clear action to take. That should be the top section. No carousel, doesn't change, no option. If there's a feature like spring you know, there's a spring collection here, and then what else are we looking at? Blooms and shrooms. So there's spring collection, there's a blooms and shrooms section. Just make those 2 featured products as product cards right below that. It doesn't need to be a part of a carousel, just show them all at once. There's definitely a design, you know, system there that'll work. The other thing to keep in mind here is on mobile, and maybe I think this is what you're seeing on mobile, but at least when I do it on Chrome here, everything just kind of responds down from desktop and is almost just a shrunken. It's like taking the corner of a photo and shrinking it instead of it actually being truly responsive. It's very important that these elements are all separated. So even if you do leave the carousel, this carousel should be put down here, and this title, subtitle, and action should be right here. And then the images is what's carouseling. It should not be shrunken down like this as a JPEG. It's just hard for someone on a mobile to see what's happening here, making it even less actionable. So hiding info off page generally means that the user's not seeing it and they're not clicking it. Here, it's not quite as important because these aren't actions. However, these are really simple icons and really simple headlines. There's no real reason for these not to be just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and displayed in one view, because there's a way to design it that they're not taking up a ton of space, and we don't have a clear description of the product up here. So these become really important because they're calling out all the key traits that people love about East Olivia. So when someone comes in and they're not familiar with the product, it's important for them to see these, because I'm guessing that the team at East Olivia has put these together as like, okay, here's what everyone loves about them. Here's what our positive reviews are about. Here's, you know, the main key traits or selling benefits of the product, and they're extremely crucial to get across. And in most cases, I'm obviously not looking at your heat map right now, but I'm guessing that this doesn't get touched very often. So I would definitely just find a way to pull them out and say them all together in one section. You could probably go ahead and submit this site for a quick win after this call on our site. Thomas can put the link in the chat. I'll have the team show you what I mean. And we'll mock up this exact section with that just so I can show you what I'm talking about.
Awesome.
Go quickly to a product. I know this seems really obvious, so just go ahead and ignore me if you don't agree with this, but once you're on the product page, there's nowhere, except probably down here, that talks about these key traits. So like, they last a year or more, no maintenance. Those 2 in particular, no maintenance and last a year or more. Those are like, if I see that up here when I land on this page, it's such a different product than how I'm viewing it, right? Because normally when you're looking at plants or any type, it's kind of like, there's price sensitivity there because there's a timeline, right? They're gonna die. I think the fact that there's no maintenance and they last a year or more is really critical information that you need to have up here. I would honestly replace this quantity section, move this, and just put in those key traits right here. I would also move this below the add to cart. This needs to be higher in the page. There should never be products that aren't the product they came to shop above the add to cart. That should just be a rule of thumb for any shop that's on here listening. They clicked on this plant to shop this plant. Do not put anything actionable above the add to cart that has anything to do with, anything other than this exact product, the botanical in the small. You're just distracting them, and you're just taking them away from the actual like conversion point they were trying to access. So this should be below this. I think that's good. Tom, what was that, like 7 minutes, 6? Yeah, let's go.
For the things that you were saying about the no maintenance and saving money last year or more, et cetera. Yeah. So that stuff is lower. Are you suggesting to put it in the images maybe, or as just an element below this?
So 2 options. Because you have these great photos, and maybe it's every photo, maybe it's just, maybe it's every product, just this product, but I would add I would personally delete this zoom button, and I would add a sticker or something up here that says, you know, no maintenance, lasts over a year, something like that. That's like hits you right in the face when you land here, or just a check mark, you know, add some content here, just a check mark that says no maintenance, mark lasts over a year. Anywhere that's just like because they're coming in here, and yeah, they can get down here. But again, most users, I bet if you look at your heat map, only 70% of your users are reading this and seeing this. So like for every 100 people, you're just leaving 30 of them without the information they need to purchase. And so those key traits or things that are like, this is what makes this product unique. This is why it's worth $5 or whatever the price is. I don't know if this is in my currency or what, but whatever the price is, you're trying to justify that to them. So this information up here needs to be everything that's the most critical stuff to get them to convert. That's partially why removing quantity works so often. You can change the quantity in the cart. So just get them adding it to cart. Just get it in the cart first. And if they really want 3 of them, they can change it in the cart. Same with this. It's just a distraction and it's not what they're actually shopping for. Yes, it's a great upsell, and I'm sure you convert a lot of them because of the product space, but you're just diluting the experience, and you need to get them here first and then worry about upsells.
Cool. Thank you.
No worries.
We'll jump to no guilt bakes. If anyone from that team wants to give a little background.
Hi.
Hey there.
I'm Aaron with No Guilt Bakes. It was founded about 3 years ago to make snacks and treats for people on a keto diet. The idea is that when you go on keto, you usually don't get the sweets and stuff you used to get. So this company gives you that, so you don't have to compromise, I guess. Yeah.
Cool. I'm already getting hungry just looking at it. Okay, we're gonna go to a product page. Actually, first thing I'm gonna say, so I noticed down here, this. Okay, so almost 1,600 verified reviews. The reason those are so important in this case is, one, a lot of your products, whether they're made in a factory or made by hand or whatever, the product imagery is all like fresh, right? It's all, here's the actual pastry. And there's a huge trust factor that needs to be made with a customer when you're trying to sell them food, right? Anything for consumption, especially when it's someone who's conscious of gluten or keto, or it's not just, they're not just buying anything, right? It's a very specific diet or specific product. Social proof and trust becomes even more important for you. And then especially when you probably have a lot of products. So each individual product doesn't necessarily have a ton of reviews, right? Maybe these are new and they don't have many reviews. So when you actually come into here, you're not building that much more trust because you're not seeing that huge volume. So what I'm getting at is, my guess is that 10% of your users are actually getting to the footer. Like at most sites, nobody ends up on the footer. So only 10% of your users who are only on the homepage are actually seeing how much success you've had, right? Like 4.5 stars and 1,600 reviews is impressive for any product in any space. So I want to be very loud about that. Find a way to bring it up here, even feature reviews about, the biggest fear when you're buying this type of product, at least for me, is, okay, it's good for me, but it tastes like shit. That's the first thing that comes to, right? That's what everyone thinks when they buy this stuff. Featuring reviews and telling them how many great reviews you've had that talk about the great flavors of these products, I think would be my bet on what's going to help push them down the funnel further, faster. I'm just going to look at the product page. It's almost lunch here. These are making me hungry. So one thing I would want to see here, and we kind of do it here, but so the product itself, it's not super easy to tell how large it is. Even this paddle, like size reference, but that paddle could be small, it could be large. There's so many different sizes of cutting boards. Even just someone, like, I don't know if everyone can see me or just a screen, but like someone's hand reaching in this image, grabbing the holder, just to give a reference point of the size of this loaf, mostly because we don't actually, like, we see it's $8.99, but we don't see how many grams it is or anything like that. And so giving us signs that it's, you know, maybe it's one of those little mini ones from Starbucks, or maybe it's a huge bread loaf. Like, it sounds silly, but like, I truly don't know how big this is, how big that product is. So it becomes really hard for me to reference, okay, $8.99 for a small loaf versus $8.99 for a medium-sized loaf. My price aversion is different for those products. So explaining and being very clear about how big it is really important. The other thing I'll note here is this gallery, as much as it can, it's nice that you're showing users there's other images here. Definitely turn off the automated thing. There's users who are going to want to explore, and there's users who are just going to make them angry. I'm one of the users who would just make angry, and I'm just going to, like, let's say I'm trying to read this, right? You've got them here, and then it switches on its own. You're just creating frustration. Anytime you're creating frustration for the user, your conversion's dropping. So let them be in control. Don't change it automatically. And probably you can get away with only having one of these. So I would suggest leaving the thumbnails and deleting these. They can swipe, they can click. They don't need a third set of actions to get through there.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing the site.
Thank you too. Thanks a lot.
We'll move to Bristol. If anyone from that team wants to give a little insight.
Hey guys, super glad to be here and looking forward to working with you guys more. We're planning to submit, so very, very glad.
Awesome.
First of all, we've been in market for about a year. Short of long, about 2 months ago, we moved from Webflow over to Shopify, and in that time frame, we eliminated the PDP or this page just because of making a swift move. We just redesigned it. It's like a V1 on design, but the PDP, the old PDP, was converting at a much higher rate than just from the homepage or our landing pages. So just wanted to get eyes on it.
Cool. Yeah, I think we might have done a quick win for you. I can't remember.
We did. You guys did, and then we're gonna be submitting this page and the homepage as well. So
cool.
yeah, we're really excited.
Awesome.
Please, yeah.
Great. Okay, so the first thing that I would call out, sorry, I'm just going to scroll quickly here.
Oh, I hope you're going to call it what I called out to the part that you can't read, but go ahead. At the very bottom, that's the imagery is too small. Yeah.
I think the very first thing that I would call out is, and maybe this is just me as a consumer, but the taking an oral health test. Not only something I've never purchased, it's not something I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe that means I have bad breath and bad teeth because I've never even heard of it, but I've never heard of this. So the first place my brain goes when I land here is, one, why the hell do I need this? Which you go into pretty good here. But the second part is, like, I've got two options. This is something I've never even heard of. How the hell am I supposed to decide between the set program and a health test? And there's literally not a single piece of information about the difference here. All I know the difference is this one's twice as much. So from
so what's weird is that must be just not functioning on mobile. I didn't because there is a difference. The description. Fascinating. Well,
it's changed. Yeah, see, it changes down here. But the issue with that is, even like, I'm looking.
You've got to be able to trade.
You can't. It's not a visual. Like, I didn't know that was changing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's changing, but it's like you got to really be watching to know that that's changing. So
yeah, great.
The long-winded way of saying, like, I would have, and you'll see this one if we do an audit. I can show you, but like, I would have these side by side, and I would have the title, the price, clearly call out the savings. Just a small note there, like, never make your customer do math. Always just tell them how much they're saving. Even toss it out and you show the other price, tell them it's 100 savings, tell them it's 24%, whatever that is. Exactly what it is, tell them, don't make them think about it. And then, even though you've got all this great info here, which is awesome, pick like the, let's say these two, I'm not reading it all, but let's say the two most important, like these, if I made a comparison chart of oral health reset and oral health test, these are the two things that they clearly like this is the big differences, add them. So put these side by side and call out the 2 key traits that make them different, or the 2 key traits that make the reset program worth double. Show them clearly, and then if they want more info, they can scroll down and read and maybe have a bigger visual change. Like maybe the description title says oral health reset description, and then it says oral health test description. So it's like very clear it's changing. There's a difference. These are just different pieces of content, but in here, just a little bit of content to help them decide between them.
Cool. Okay.
The other thing.
Another carousel. You're killing all of it. You're like, you guys.
No, this is fine. This is a product page. There should be product images here. The main issue with this one is that I can't actually tell there is one. I, until this moment, thought there was one image because I can only see the black dot. So I was like, oh, it's just there's a gallery function, but there's no images here. So first thing is every other dot should be gray, but I'm just gonna scroll through these. So the other thing that, again, as someone who's never done this before, I see the packaging, I see there's a brand, like first place my brain goes is, okay, well, they've invested in packaging, so it's not total crap. But then I get into a lot of heavy content, like a blog post made into an image, not in a bad way. That's probably valuable here, but I don't actually see what I'm buying. Like it almost feels like I'm opening this box and then I'm getting pieces of paper. I'm not actually seeing the physical, like what's in the box. And maybe that's what these are.
No, it's not. That's the recommendations, but that's not clear. Yeah, I agree with you.
This needs to be like the front of the box and whatever the hell is in there. I don't know if it's 1 thing, 2 things, 7 things. It all needs to be shown right here in people's face of like, even if they don't know what it is, right? At least they're seeing, oh, inside that $89 box is these 7 things, right? And then there probably should be an image in here at the end that does like a bird's eye, you know, someone laying out their camping gear type thing, all the items and a little label for each of them, just to really clearly communicate exactly what they're getting. A lot of users use the gallery as their main shopping information. So they're not getting down here, even though I'm sure everything I'm saying is down here, they're probably not getting there in a lot of cases. So whenever you're looking at the entire page flow, basically everything that's down here, you need to find a concise and simple way to make it into an image for up here. Everything. If it's important enough to be on your product page, it should be made into a simple image that goes in your gallery. We basically, if you go through every audit report that's been done in the last year, there's a section that's like, here's the product images that are missing, and we design them and give them all the what they need. And usually all that we're doing is we're going through the product page and saying, okay, what's important here? Make it into a product image.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I didn't really take a breath there, but I hope that was helpful.
I feel you. Trust me. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll jump to this Wonderlust
right
here.
Okay. Strengthening emotion, sexual connection.
Hey guys, let me just hop on here. My name is Natasha. So I'm building this on Replo. Actually, I already noticed that like there's this whole problem with the font and like adjusting it from Shopify to Replo. So like what's showing up on the hero is like it's incorrect, which is a bit frustrating. But yeah, I don't know why that's on my end.
Try and get it. Give me one sec. I'm gonna try and find a device that'll work. We might just have to do it on desktop just for shoot.
I don't know why that's happening though. On my end, it's showing up normal.
Let me refresh, see if that helps. Let's just do it on desktop. I apologize, but
it's okay. I mean, this is good to know that it's showing up like I'm just pulling it up on my phone and it's fitting in perfectly. So I'm wondering why that's happening on your end.
Honestly, sometimes Chrome sucks with that stuff. It could very well just be a Chrome thing with Inspect.
Okay. All right, cool. Anyways, so basically I had the carousel, and as you're like giving the advice, I like deleted the carousel there.
Oh, that's funny.
But I've built everything the way that like you and Nick Sharma, they tend to like send out in your newsletters as advice. I'm just getting like, I'm really focused on design, and I'm getting really ticked off that like the fonts aren't showing up correctly, but Replo's really great with their customer service, so I'll have that fixed.
Nice. I think, yeah, and just a note there for everyone, like even at Oddit, like we're extremely picky with that type of stuff, making sure the fonts are aligned, all these different things. But I just will say, as someone who's worked on a lot of websites and seen different conversion rates and what works and what doesn't, at the end of the day, I would say that your aesthetic and your, things like fonts loading and all of that, probably you're the only person on the planet that actually notices them.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I'm the exact same, but don't lose sleep over it. I didn't notice, and you're the only one that knows it was supposed to be another way, so it's not a conversion
Okay.
Okay, so very first thing, I actually loaded this site before you removed the carousel, so I actually have a great comment here. So the main thing I was going to call out is was to pick one image, but it wasn't going to be this image, and the reason is these cards themselves, they're not like a standard card design you expect. They're square. It's not totally clear. Excuse me. So, and not in a bad good thing, but I think featuring the box, as beautiful as it is, I think it's more important for the cards themselves to be the focal point. So this image is great, right? Like it's got so much detail. You've got Serial Magazine, which tells me something about the type of brand and the type of aesthetic, right? They really align there. You've got the table, flowers, the sticker. But the cards themselves, the actual game that you're selling, is almost the smallest part of the image, and it's completely not out of focus, but it's not the focal point. And I think maybe just if you were to just use this exact same image, but on top of that serial book is all the cards and the boxes in the bottom right, it just tells a different story, right? It's going to help explain that this is a card game, even if they're not reading it. And even in your headline, I love the headline, but we don't say intimacy deck, like a deck of cards to the very end, right? So if they're just scanning, they might even miss that part. Same thing that we were saying on the other side, like maybe it's, test some other button labels like shop intimacy deck or shop intimacy game or.
Okay. So I should just delete like with the mindful intimacy deck, like that part, just like put in like the benefit of it.
No, I think it's fine to have that in there. I'm just saying it's at the end of a long headline. People come in and start scanning. I'm just saying there's other ways that we can communicate the product and to just play with them, I guess, is the different versions of it. I love having the review up here. I'm just gonna read it really quickly. So this is, I like the idea of having that intimacy coach kind of call it out. I would honestly though, I would test making this a review from a real couple.
Okay, I have plenty of those. I'll do that.
Yeah. I would test that because it's always great to see like a professional recommends, like, trusted by doctors or whatever, but most people just want to know that like John and Jane Doe, just they use it and get better sex because of it. Like that's what they really want to know. It's not that some professional was paid to, I'm not saying that, but like that's what my head goes to. It's like, oh, they paid an intimacy coach to say this.
Okay, got it.
So I would test that. The other thing, excuse me, is love it. I would pull. Oh, you have something there. Just gonna look at the mobile menu quickly here. It's just one product, right?
Yeah. Right now we're a 1 year product.
Okay, so if we just look at this section as a whole, and I know this is desktop, which is probably not as relevant to you, but like let's just look at this whole page as a whole. I land here. This is important information. It's great to show. I would add a link here because you own the product. So let's just tell them it ships free and then give them an action to take. And then we get to here, and the only real thing that they need in this entire site is cart and buying the deck. So I would delete search because what are they searching for? They're only searching for one product.
Right.
Delete count, move it to footer. delete lust report, move it to footer, delete about, move it to footer, and just have one big button up here, not big, like gaudy big, but just a link that says shop intimacy deck. Because again, I land here, sometimes you have a user's attention for seconds. Let's just make sure that they're always getting over communicated to, I guess would be the.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
2 levels, 69 card each romantic and sexual. I love how simple you've tried to make this, but I think this needs to be broken out a little bit better as to like, you're kind of, I'm guessing 2 levels is like, you're talking about these.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's 138 prompts, like divided into 2 levels, 69 cards each. Like the first level is more romantic, the second one is sexual.
Right. So I would, when we're thinking of how it works functionally, it truly is like, okay, how do I actually play this game? I would say, you know, step 1, pick your level, romantic and sexual. Like that, this could easily just be one step in the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like step 1 or level 1, I don't know if there's actually like a, oh, you're talking about the 2 different, I see. Anyways, I would be more clear about this because as I'm looking at it, obviously I'm
Okay, perfect. Thank
probably
you.
confused.
Got it.
But yeah, if you submit for a quick win, I can try and solve it for you.
All right.
This is interesting. I wonder, one thing to test here, and I'm not sure if it's native functionality for Replo, but something to consider is whenever you're offering discounts on multiple quantity, so 2, 3, whatever, it generally works better when there's just fewer actions to take and it's more visual. So what I'm saying here is you probably on your back end see that 99% of orders, for instance, are either 1, 2, or 3 decks, right? Maybe I'm just guessing, but let's just say that 4 or more is so rare, it's never happens. Who cares about that? I would replace this whole section with just 3 cards. And it just says 1 deck cost per, 2 decks, $42 each, 3 decks, $39 each, right? Just show, and don't even show the full price. I mean, but show the per deck price and then give them the option of adding 1, 2, or 3 to cart. I think you'll see higher AOV by doing that versus saying this and then giving them this, because there's a good chance that they're not seeing this versus giving them the variant option. They have to pick one.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you guys so much. This was really helpful.
Awesome.
We'll jump to this one. And Leighton, if you want to give a little background, that'd be great.
Hey, hi there. Yeah, we're a sock brand. We're concentrated right now 100% on the UK market, but hoping to get into the US later this year. We concentrate on socks that are organic, eco-friendly materials. We plant a tree for every order. We are carbon neutral, so we're emphasizing the sustainability aspect of our product. Okay. We've been going since October 2021, have 5,000 customers. Conversion rate currently around 5 to 6%. Looking to improve that.
Nice. That was very simple and to the point.
And just like our site, hopefully. We got
and full of good
products, 4 colors, and we're actually going to cut that down to 3 colors and 3 products.
I love it. Cool. Okay. Very first thing I'll call out is you said a ton of great things there that I don't see here. And that's a problem for a few reasons, but you have it all on this page, right? Excuse me, frog in my throat. But many of your users may not get to this part of the site. And so your headline is descriptive of what you do, right? You're making good socks and they're for consumers. What you don't get into here though, and maybe it's because they're all coming from an ad where it describes this, but you don't get into what are they conscious about, right? Like, is it for price conscious consumers? Is it for environmentally conscious consumers? Is it for consumers that are conscious of labor and where it's being made? Is it conscious of only made in USA? There's so many different ways that someone could interpret conscious, and you're letting them just guess, which is good, but most cases it's bad because they don't know actually what your direction is. So I would find a way to communicate that much more clearly up here. And then the other thing I would say is, as I mentioned before, for every 100 users, not all 100 even get to here. So anything that you want to communicate that a random person or a person landing on the site may not see needs to be up here. So there's no action to take right now. Oh, there is an action to take. So that's an even bigger issue. It's not clear there's an action to take. So there needs to be an actual button here that tells them where they're going and what they're looking at. There's probably an issue on your site right now where people are actually hitting this, not meaning to. And an accidental click is the conversion, right? They go to scroll, they hit this, and they're like, whoa, what the hell? I didn't mean to go anywhere because there's no button. So I didn't think I was clicking anything. Now they're on another page and they hit close. I bet you if you go in your Clarity or whatever you use, like you'll see people accidentally click there and then they leave the site. So that's a big issue. I would be more clear here, and I would add an action here. And talk about, like you mentioned, you have so many customers, like let's talk about that up here. That's important. There's, no knock to the space, but there's 1,000 sock brands out there that are all, or claim to be high quality, conscious, all these things. You got to stand out. And one of the ways to stand out is to say, hey, other people wear our socks and I love them, or we've been doing this a long time. You got to find ways to communicate that and do it immediately. Just very quickly here. No, let's go back to this one. Here we go. This is kind of what I was talking about on the last site, is something like this. I know this is probably just a native functionality, but the more you can visualize this, the better. So even like showing 1 pair, showing 3 pairs, showing 5 pair, making them like full carts. I would provide more, I don't know how to best do this, but is this because there's only one size available, or there's only ever one? You're just saying they work for everyone.
Yeah, at the moment we're going to be introducing new sizes, but when we started, we don't want to dilute, let's say, the audience, so we just are offering one size.
Okay. One thing I would test in this case until you have more sizes is don't make it an option. So if that, like, what I mean by that is, if there's a variant of your product that you can't change, don't show it. So like, if you only sold white socks, don't show color as an option because they can't change it. So the only things that should have a variant selector are things that have an alternate variant. If that makes sense. So if there's no other size to pick, just tell them one size fits all. That's way easier to communicate to someone. Now, obviously, you're going to alienate certain consumers who are like, oh, I have really small feet or really big feet. No way that's true. They're not buying anyway when they see this. So there's no different than showing them this. It's giving them one less action to take, even though it's not even an action they can take. Does that make sense?
So, and I have a question about the title, whether it should be at the very top of the mobile page, so that the image carousel is closer to the price. When people change the variants, they can see like the 5-pack, for example. If you go to something that's in stock, you'll see the 5 there.
In this case, I think that is important. I would organic cotton, comb cotton, no show socks. I would move this up. I would find a way to get it onto 2 lines because it's too tall right now. I would move your rating and your title up here, and I would, get your carousel right by these.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I didn't see that when I clicked it, which is the problem.
If
I go here, okay, one thing to note here, which is a small thing, but I think you'll see an increase in 5-packs, is this is the price where they go over your shipping threshold. I would highlight that right here. So this says 1 pair, this is the 3-pack and save 5%. This is the 5-pack and save 10% plus get free shipping.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Because you're what you're doing, again, it's not making them do math, but you kind of are. You're making them click here, then see that it's 36, then assume that they saw this, and they're doing the math of, okay, I'm under 36. It's just too much thinking, whereas you could just say, this is above the threshold, let's just tell them it's free shipping.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sounds stupid and obvious, but it'll work. Sorry, just looking quickly at the rest. I would test showing a few key traits up here. I know everyone always says get your add to cart high as you can, but I would test showing just a few of the things that make your socks unique. Like I was saying on the, escaping me which product we're looking at on this call, but just a few like check boxes or whatever that just say like 1, 2, 3, or just 1, 2, like here's what people are always loving about it, or here's what we love about it. Just a few things that tell me more than just that it's cotton and no-show. Again, trying to stand out. Not that it's like a crazy expensive product or anything, but it'll definitely help communicate value if this happens to be the first place they've landed where they're actually digesting information. Cool. I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, link page also, but we're bringing people generally to the product pages or landing pages, so they don't really see the home page in most cases.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But yeah, that's really good comments. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, Tommy, 1, maybe 2 more.
Cool. We'll jump to that tiny tags one, Sean.
Personalized jewelry. Anyone from Tiny Tags on the call?
Yes, this is Alyssa Moran. I'm the director of ecom here.
Hey, how you doing? Do you want to give me a
Good,
little
how are you?
I'm doing well. Can you give us a
Yeah,
little
sure.
on the site? Yeah, thank you.
Family owned and operated, started by our founder, Melissa, and we are primarily selling personalized jewelry targeted at moms. So our top sellers are things like mini dog tags with our names with their birth date or birth time on the back. So that's really our primary target.
Amazing. Thank you. I'm just going to scroll quickly here. Look at everything. Okay, so I'm just going to make 2 quick comments on the top here, and then we'll go to a product page. So these quick access carousels can work really well. They can also hurt conversion. So no major comment, just turn it off and on. And if you can, run a test of how conversion's affected, because sometimes they can hurt your site speed or just in general, just hurt conversion because they're taking up a lot of the first fold, which is pushing this down. So it's just something to test. It's probably working okay because you did a really good job of visualizing it, but it's something I would definitely test. The other thing, and this is honestly, there's no like perfect answer to this, but and very hard. But whenever you're featuring a product, you got to do your best to show it as the focal point. And this is a beautiful photo. It really like captures exactly what you're trying to show, but the product itself is actually quite hard to see. And even more important, there's I come here, I see fine personalized jewelry for moms. I see this beautiful image and she's wearing 2 pieces of jewelry. And, if I read this in detail, I can probably guess that you're selling this one right here, the mom. But if I don't, you're just kind of, it's like saying, hey, go buy this t-shirt. And then the product image is 2 t-shirts. One of them's your product and one of them's not. It can be confusing, and it's not a huge thing, but it's not helping your cause when you're trying to get clicks here. The other thing here is that just as a UX rule of thumb, you never want actions connected. It's kind of a design, what's the word I'm looking for? Best practice, I guess, for a variant selector. So like if you imagine early iPhone days, or even now still, like this is how you select between 2 things, right? So what this looks like, sorry, trying to get back. What this looks like is a toggle that's going to toggle these products to me. This looks like this is showing Ave Mama. This is showing Curio arrivals. Obviously, that's not what's happening, but because they're connected, they look that way. So in this case, it's just important for the, you've picked a primary action here, I think, which is this one, which is why it's darker. Separate them, even just the littlest bit of separation, just instantly makes them not feel like a variant selector and makes them feel like actions. Okay, let's go look at a front page. Okay, right here. It's great to have, I like that you have the different lengths and you have the prices shown right on them. I think the issue here is just like we were talking about with that cake that we were looking at, you're assuming that users know these lengths. Now you get this and you're like 16, 18, 20, 24. I know exactly what length I want because you were, you're around these products every day. But you're assuming that the person is sitting at their computer or their phone with a tape measure being like, I need a 20-inch necklace. I knew it. That's the one I needed. I don't need 24. I don't need 18. That's my size. And I would guess that that's never the case. Nobody knows their chain size, especially for a specific chain that they've never bought before. So what I'm getting at is, as nice and communicative as this is, I would add a little action here that just says, help me choose. And all you're going to do is you're going to surface a pop-up image that shows, what I would do is show a woman and she's wearing all 4 of them, and just show how far down her chest or her neck each one hangs, and you just have a little arrow pointing out each. Now that could be a pop-up, which would be a new piece of functionality for you here, or it could, small, short-term scenario is to add it as a product. So it's just when they're scrolling through product images, at least they can see the 3 or 4 different lengths of a product. I think in a lot of cases like this, the second that you've sent them away from their computer or their phone, right? Like if this is me and I'm buying this for my wife, 1, I have no clue. But 2, I'm going to go then find a tape measure or, luckily maybe I'll have the tape ones that you can actually use to measure your waist and stuff. And you can actually measuring on the hers in her closet. But either way, I'm away from my computer and I'm not on the site hitting add to cart. Whereas if I just saw an image of what these different lengths were, it makes my decision a lot easier, making obviously conversion higher. Does that make sense?
Awesome. Yeah, we have a size guide in our footer that does just that. So I think we can just highlight that through a modal here.
Perfect. Yeah, it's one piece of information that is only useful if it's in the relevant location. Because even then, right, if it's there and I'm like a user and I'm like, oh, maybe they have a size guide. The second that they're away from that top section, they may still buy, but your actual conversion is just tanking because they're on site longer. They're not back in the add to cart section. All these little factors, right?
Awesome. Thank you.
No worries. Tommy, I don't think we have time for one more, do we?
We got 3 minutes here. I think. Do you want to just do just for a couple of minutes? There's someone. Let's see. We do. Sorry. Hold on. Let me send this to you, Sean.
I can't see anything on Zoom, so except the chat. So I hope that was valuable for everyone. And I can't tell if everyone left or joined or what happened. So it could be just me and Thomas at this point.
No, you're good. Sean, will you just do for a minute or two? Will you just jump into that last site?
Yeah.
They're excited to just see your thoughts. So.
Okay.
This is Ken here. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I'm happy to give you some background. You probably don't have any idea what you're looking at here.
No, go ahead.
So we've been in business for about 7 years, and kratom is an herbal supplement, kind of similar to, or maybe more like cannabis. And it's basically an herb that people use to manage chronic pain. And because of like FDA regulations, and there's certainly like a focus on this product where we have to be careful about what we say. We've always been very careful not to make any drug claims. People will do this, even though they're not really supposed to. But there's a lot of kind of interesting development around the industry right now, and and we're kind of more, I guess we're more open to kind of explaining to people why or how Kratom can help them. And so what we do, I think, is kind of transform our in such a way where we're not just selling this product and saying, hey, we're the best at it, but we're starting to tell people like how it can help them.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. I think the very first thing that I would do is, this section is, it's important information, but it's in a very critical point in the site. And I think it's just important for it to add more value. So it's just a vague and doesn't tell me anything directly about like what makes you great, right? It's like, why am I buying from you? That's the whole headline, and that takes up most of the space. And then we talk about you're offering it in the perfect way, but we're not actually talking about what makes it that way, right? It's not like the actual description of what you're doing with the product to make it unique. So I think this is an important section, but I would try and find a way to pull in the actual like why, and maybe it is just in unaltered, untouched, uncompromised. Maybe that's it. Like that's more powerful to me. Just sure those 3 words, right? Like we do it right. Those 3 words. Because generally when it's a long form section this high on the page, it's just getting scrolled over. The other thing I would mention is, this is interesting. We've audited multiple Kratom sites, and very rarely is there multiple like styles of the supplement. When I say style, like the gummies and whatever, I would make these into a carousel way up here. Maybe Replo top sellers in between here, and just let people swipe through, like, choose your supplement type, and it's like gummy, whatever, like use that category selector higher up the page. I think you'd see a lot of action there. I'm just going to quickly go to a product page because I know we're out of time. Okay. Issue number 1, there's no visual indication there's a carousel there. So I, took a guess that there was, but either way, there should be a visual carousel, and this, especially for a product like this carousel should be full of information. Everything from the benefits to the back of the package to show ingredients to UGC to a review, anything that, like we talked about on the last few sites, anything down the page or on the product packaging that's important or the user should know, put it in there. It's just one of those things. Amazon pushes a lot of content through galleries, and that's where most of the internet learns how to shop online. So they're always exploring these galleries, and it's important for them to be kind of chock full of information. Super small thing, but I just convert this paragraph into bullets. So I would just say bullet 1, naturally high mitochondrial kratom. Get perky and power through the toughest days. I mean, most of it's marketing content, but I would keep it as focused as possible on like the actual key traits and the benefits. I know you mentioned at the start that that's hard in some cases, but do your best to, anytime it's on the product page, at the top of this product page, remove all marketing fluff. Telling them exactly an exact detail does not go above the add to cart. You got to speak in complete, like, exact detail of what's happening or what's there, or remove it, or at least move it down here. Cool. Sorry, we're over time. I can keep going, but.
No, don't worry about it. I appreciate it. That's very helpful. Thank you so much. And we actually already signed up to do an audit with you guys, so we're just waiting to get going. But yeah, you guys do really cool stuff. So
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Hey, Sean, Thomas, thank you guys so much. These are so valuable to the community, and as always, I learned a lot here today. So we'll be posting this in our community on on YouTube in the next 24 hours. And thanks everyone again for showing up. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.